office supplies can mean big bucks. But Office Max can turn those big office bills into small change. Office Max, we go to the max for you.
Right now, it's your local forecast on the Weather Channel.
Residents of the Northeast brace for another brisk night of cold weather and miserable weather. It'll be particularly bad for the more active areas like Westchester County, New York, where this live shot is coming from, and some light sleet is falling. Welcome to Weather Center. I'm Dave Schwartz. We are keeping track of this dynamic winter storm as it moves up the East Coast now into northern New England eventually. We've got live reports from the Philadelphia area, the New York City area, and we'll also talk with our winter weather expert, Paul Kosin. Paul will be with us here in just a minute to keep you apprised of what is going on. But let's help you get a feel for what's going on now into New England, Massachusetts. This is what it looked like today in Gloucester. On the North Shore, moderate snow's been coming down for you since early this morning. It's very cold. Thermometer reads about 8 or 10 degrees tonight. When combined with the wind, it feels like 15 below, and you can expect as much as half a foot of snow more before it changes over to sleet and freezing rain tomorrow morning. So it is one big mess. Travel has been disrupted. Schools have been closed. And power outages are possible. More of them are possible here tonight as the ice continues across Pennsylvania and southwestern New York. There it is. The cold air still in place across much of the country, all the way back to the lower Ohio Valley and even into Tennessee. We've got some snow now. The moisture coming up from the southwest, overrunning this cold air here at the surface. Eventually we'll get more of a moist flow from the southeast, and that'll warm us up here in the northeast. But right now, this is all snow. Boston, New York City, back into the Poconos, northern Pennsylvania, a mess. Then even back into the Ohio Valley, some light snow falling, and all the way down toward Nashville. The area shaded in green. It's all ice. And we're going to take you there right now so you can get a feel for what's going on out there. Of course, if you live there, you know. Our first stop is Mike Seidel in Westchester County, just north of New York City. Mike, what's it like out there tonight? 15 degrees.
That's right, Dave. It's cold. The only saving grace, Dave, is the fact that there's very little wind, so the wind chill's not much of a factor like it was earlier today. 15, and we're getting now a fair amount of sleet. I think it's that band that you've been showing us on radar beginning to kind of edge into Westchester County from the south and southwest. So we've got sleet and light snow mixed coming down here at the Tappan Zee Bridge. Traffic heading across the span, and we do have an emergency vehicle coming this way with the flashing lights. Can't tell if that's a plow or a tow truck, but they've been back and forth across the span all day. The speed limit has been dropped to 35 miles an hour. Now the roads out here are basically wet on 287 and 87 in the thruway, but once traffic dies down and we start to get the heavier precipitation, they'll likely again get covered up by sleet and snow, and then we're going to get that freezing rain late tonight, and that's going to be a problem out here in the suburban areas north and west of New York for a long time, through at least mid if not late morning tomorrow, before the temperature goes above freezing. Those of you watching out on Long Island, Nassau and Suffolk counties, and in the city proper, you'll see that changeover, we think, sometime around sunrise. So after that point, anything that falls will be rain, and that should help to clear up the roadways. Again, an extended period of ice tonight, freezing rain, which could lead to some power lines coming down and some power outages. So keep that in mind and drive safely throughout tonight. Another rough rush hour coming in from suburbia tomorrow morning. Dave, we'll keep you updated, of course.
And walk safely on the sidewalks, too. I imagine they're icy as well.
Good idea.
Thanks a lot, Mike Seidel from Westchester County, New York. Now we turn to Jeff Morrow, who's been standing in the freezing rain and sleet now for about 24 straight hours just north of Philadelphia. What's it like out there tonight, Jeff?
Well, it's a pretty miserable night, really, to be out and about, Dave, whether you're driving or I don't know that anybody would want to walk anywhere tonight, but it would definitely be a miserable night for that. We still have some light sleet coming down. It's tapered off a little bit in the last half hour, but in the last few hours, we've had about an inch of sleet accumulating. Let's go ahead and pan over to the toll booth here, the toll gate from the Schuylkill Expressway on out into the Pennsylvania Turnpike. And from what was just a wet roadway about 3 hours ago has now become a sleet-covered roadway. And again, it is pretty packed down as well. So the driving definitely has gotten a lot more treacherous here as we've headed through the evening hours and as we've gone into the nighttime. Again, we're expecting light sleet to continue throughout the evening hours, and then later tonight, another big batch of moisture coming up from the south is probably going to ram into this cold air, and we're going to get more sleet and freezing rain. So the icing conditions may continue even on into tomorrow morning. And a question you might want to pose Paul Cosin there is, are we going to really warm up here in northwest Philly? Because the temperatures are stuck around 19 or 20 degrees here, and it's going to take a pretty good push to get this cold air out of the way. But in any event, we will be here tonight and tomorrow morning to report it to you. Let's get back to you now in the warm studio.
Thanks a lot, Jeff. I'm going to ask him that question right now, and you get inside the truck and get warm. Well, joining me now is our winter weather expert, Paul Cosin. Paul, Jeff raises the question. It's 19 degrees, 20 degrees, northwest suburbs of Philly. Is it going to warm up enough to melt the ice?
That's a good question from Jeff. That is the big question, and northwest of Philly, there is a possibility that they may not warm up. The same is true northwest of Baltimore and west of Washington, D.C., and all the way down through the Shenandoah Valley. Same thing with New York City and to the west of Boston. The main setup for that is because of the main problem we've been having for the last 2 days is high pressure, and high pressure is going over